Okay, I think we're live here. We are live on Facebook and YouTube and possibly LinkedIn if it can get out of its own way here. So let me just get some things sorted out here and we'll get going. And I'm just going to talk to whoever is out there in the world. And technology is normally my friend. Today is going bonkers. Have you ever had things just go completely sideways for you? Um, Hang on, let me just send a message to someone. All right, so I'm going to get everything sorted out. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Malora. Assuming you know me if you've found yourself here. But long story short, I am a former rocket scientist, legit rocket scientist. And sorry to be looking down trying to do multiple things here at once, which is not my specialty. But here we are. And I was supposed to give a talk tonight, and there was kerfuffle. We'll just leave it at that. That there was a kerfuffle, and it has resulted in me having some time on my hands to do a talk, and I'm just going to give it here. So let me figure out how to navigate my way around because technology is being a bit of a booger. And yeah, so what we're going to be talking about tonight is the Navigate Your Legacy. And what is in this content is about a super powerful question to ask that one of my mentors, his name is Tim Hahn, taught me to ask, and I've been using in my life, and it really does have the power to change your life. That's not being salesy or shamo or whatever, but it really does have the power to change your life, where you want to be, where you want to go. And then also, I'm going to be sharing a framework of how to get clear on who you want to be because that's huge, right? Like people always say, like, what do you want in life? Who do you want to be? And that's all well and good to ask that, but what do you do when you need like a framework? How do you even answer those big questions? And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. If I can get my technology to work, so let me switch over to the presentation here. I am flying completely by the seat of my pants, and this is even more by the seat of my pants than I normally am. Um, okay, and do that. Share that screen. Share. And all right, let's see if we can make this happen here. All right, so here we go. So one of the things about your life is if we don't know where we want to go, if we just stay stuck, well, that can result in a whole host of things like burnout, going towards things that you don't want to do, moving towards things that aren't important to you, and you're not able to serve yourself, and then you're also not able to serve others. So what do we do if we hit that part of our life? Like what do we do when we can't serve others that we are actually here to serve? So when we talk about legacy, the important part about legacy is your legacy is not only something that you leave behind. Really, you are building your legacy every single day. Legacy, again, is not something way far out in the super far future. And your legacy that you're going to end up living is not an accident. Your legacy is not an accident. It's a direct result of the choices you make. And as I mentioned when we started here, for those of you who don't know me, for 15 years, I was a contractor. I supported NASA and elite military units leading test operations. Basically, our group's responsibility was they would send us out to wherever we went, wherever the thing needed to be in the world, and we made sure it worked before we handed it over to the warfighter, whether they're in F-35s or it was Air Force Special Operations. So real high stakes stuff, things that required a lot of like foresight and vision to do. But a lot of the times, what I actually found myself, even though by day I was working in these high speed things, I didn't have that vision for myself in my own life, because even though I was a high performer, I never set goals. So, like, I actually ended up in the job I ended up in, not by accident per se, but I had no intentions of working for NASA. I never thought I was smart enough to work with people in NASA or in the space program. And one of the things again, hindsight is 2020. One of the reasons why I never set goals is because my confidence was so low. I never actually believed that I could hit a target. And the beautiful part about not setting a goal, not having a target, is that because the thought of not hitting a goal, it terrified me. And subconsciously, I knew I was protecting my fragile ego from failing to meet a goal. So if you're failed at meeting a goal, what do? Don't set goals, because then you can actually never fail if you never set a success criteria. And the irony is, it was literally my job to test things to see if they met or failed its requirement. But when it came to my own life, I didn't do it. So what I ended up doing was I would engineer my life to be in a continual state of reacting to fires. And I don't mean like literal fires. I wasn't a firefighter, but I engineer things to be in a continual state of reacting. And I didn't say responding, reacting. I engineered my life like that because I was good at it. I was good at reacting to things. I was good at when things went sideways. I was the guy that you wanted to call because I was able to think on my feet. And I realized that when things were burning down around me, I had more latitude to react, and people were just happy that everything didn't burn completely down to the ground, and I was rewarded for thinking on my feet. I basically floated through life from one thing to the other as I was going through life. You know, I always joke and say now I basically Forrest Gump my way through life for far too long. By Forrest Gump, I mean like I never thought about where I was going. I never thought about what I was going to do. I just went through the motions and kind of let the wind blow me wherever it wanted to take me. And we are meant for way more than that. We really are. We are meant for more than just Forrest Gumping our way through life. And one of the things that I've come to learn is I was lacking the frameworks to begin to define what I wanted and the step by step frameworks to work towards my goal. Like, I never knew what I was supposed to be doing, I never knew where I was supposed to be going as I was working through these goals in my life. So I created those frameworks. And I not only created them, I also created them for you. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So the agenda for today is I'm going to teach you to ask a better question. This question, no doubt, can shift your life into a completely different trajectory. If you're stuck, if you're discouraged, this question is the question that if you lean into it, can actually get you moving to where you want to go. And we're also going to be talking about crafting the future you. Like, who is this version of yourself that you want to be? Right? So this is what we're going to be talking about today. And there's 6 checkpoints that I've come up with, that I've built, that I've come to realize have gotten me to where I'm at, having launched, 3 profitable businesses, been out of engineering for a number of years. And, the first one is legacy. Who is this future version of ourselves that we want to go towards? How do we make sure that we are doing what we can in the moment to get towards that? And then confidence is the next checkpoint. Confidence, a lot of people get confused with arrogance. Arrogance is that, that the kind of very haughty, using, your power, your stature, whether it's physical or in a business world, to laud over people. True confidence is actually believing in your own abilities. So when we have real confidence, true confidence, that's actually comes from us keeping promises to ourselves. It's not from doing the things, it's from having the bravery to take action to do things, which brings us to our next checkpoint of mine, is the action part of it. How do we actually get moving on things? And what I'm going to teach you today is going to be really impactful for that. Once we get moving, now it's important to stay in momentum, because it takes a lot of effort to get started. Like, think of a train coming out of the station. It's like ka-chunk, 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 trying to come out of the station. When you gain momentum, that enables you to keep going. It's kind of like throwing fuel on the fire of the old locomotives. Focus. Once we get moving, once we start getting momentum, once our confidence starts going, how do we maintain our focus? And by focus, I mean, how do we keep our vision going forward? Like, instead of looking side to side at what everybody else is doing. And the final checkpoint, the sixth checkpoint that I came up with is structure. How do we put structure into our lives that enables us to get to where we want to go? Right? How do we put structure into our lives to get us to where we want to go? And today, what we're going to be talking about, the one we're going to be talking about is legacy, right? We're going to be talking about, we're going to be zeroing in about getting clear about who we are and who we want to be. So, if those other checkpoints were interesting to you, if they piqued your interest, I encourage you, scan this QR code, or you can go to johnmalora.com, free stuff. You can go ahead and get the Elite Action Flight Plan that's got the 6 checkpoints of success, where I talk about what they are, why they matter, and more importantly, how to actually apply them. Because I am all about application and action. I'm not just going to give you a bunch of information and say, all right, well, this is really good information. Good luck figuring out how to use it. Everything I have is not only information, it's implementation too. And because I believe in over delivering so much, there's also a bonus. If you scan the same link, you're also going to get my free Navigator Masterclass. And this is where I talk about, you don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You're just listening to this wrong internal navigator inside your head. So scan that QR code. It's going to be on these next few slides here. I really encourage you to. It's free. Might as well get the resources and get moving towards who you say you want to be. So, what question do you ask when it's time to do something, right? It's a very natural question to ask, do I want to do this right now, right? That's a very natural question to ask. Do I want to do this right now? And I'm going to tell you that that very natural question is the wrong question to be asking. So if we don't ask, do I want to do this right now? What the heck do we ask? Well, instead of asking, do I want to do this right now? This is the powerful question that if you really lean into, it has the potential to change everything for you for the better. So instead of asking, do I want to do this right now? Ask yourself a better question. And it's a two-parter question. And the first part of the question is, when you face a decision, when you come up to that decision, whether it's that moment to hit the snooze button, whether to put on your running shoes, whether to have that conversation that you've been putting off with somebody, to apply for the job, to start eating healthy, whenever you face that decision, instead of asking, do I want to do this right now? Ask yourself this question. The first part of it is this decision right now going to keep me stuck where I'm at? Is this decision right now going to keep me stuck where I'm at? Is hitting the snooze going to keep me stuck where I'm at? Is scrolling on social media instead of working on my business plan or making that cold call, is that going to keep me stuck where it's at? And I realize the irony that I'm doing this on social media, but this is a question that you need to ask yourself, and it's supposed to sting. This question is supposed to make you feel a little bit icky if you don't do the thing that you know is going to keep you going. So, first question is this decision right now going to keep me stuck where I'm at? Or, what decision can I make that will make me a hero to the future you? What decision can I make that will make me a hero to the future you? So, who is this future you? Who's this future you we want to be a hero to? Well, have you thought about who you want to be? Right? Have you? Have you thought about who you want to be? And let me clear something up. Wondering who you want to be is not just for young kids or people getting ready to graduate high school or maybe even college. Because when I meet with someone one-on-one during like a free call, the first question I ask them in the complimentary coaching call is this. If you woke up 1 year from today and life felt amazing, like you finally had some momentum, like what would be different for you? What would be different for you? Think it over right now for a moment. If you woke up a year from now, in September of 2026, and life felt amazing, like you finally had the momentum, like what would be different? Well, If you're having trouble thinking up an answer, you are not alone, because of the hundreds of people I've worked with one-on-one in coaching, pretty much everyone stumbles on that question. Almost everybody. They stumble on that question. If things could be different and I felt good about stuff, what would my life look like a year from now? Because maybe you don't feel like you have permission to dream now that we're adults. Maybe you think dreaming is selfish. Maybe you think, what's the point of dreaming? It'll never happen anyway. So let me ask you this. What would it look like if it did happen? What would it look like if it did happen? If things actually happened for you? If things started to change? So normally I have these worksheets for folks to fill out, and not sure who's all out there, but we're going to go ahead and just go through the program. But these are the type of things that I do in my one-on-one coaching and also in my course. So you have access to them right now, for anyone's there. But if anyone's there and wants me to hang out here for a moment while you do them, go ahead. If not, we'll just go ahead and slide through onto the next thing. And let me ask you another question. On the hard days, like, what do you focus on? What's your North Star? And this is the framework, the foundational framework provided to you to help you build out who you want to be. And I've got 4 foundational points that we build this on, because this is all about giving ourselves a solid foundation as we move forward. So the first foundation is provision. Second is resilience. We're going to go ahead and get into these in a moment. The third is connection. And the fourth is identity. So provision, the first foundation. How do you build the life that you're proud to fund and fuel, right? Fact of the matter is, we need money. So how are we going to build a future you that we're proud to fund and also fuel? You know, this includes finances, career, stewardship, the broader purpose behind who you are and how you earn and how you give. Some examples are, maybe you want to create multiple income streams, fund generously, design a career that energizes and not drains you. The second foundation is resilience. How do you protect the energy future you needs to keep showing up? This covers physical health, mental strength, emotional endurance, sustainable habits. Got lots of habits, not all of them are sustainable, right? And some examples of this are, maybe train 3 times a week to stay ready and not play catch up on your health. Prioritize sleep and rest rhythms. Develop a personal recovery plan for stress. Start to get in tune with your body, how things affect you. The fourth foundation, connection. How do we invest in the people who matter most? These are your family, friendships, faith community, your legacy relationships. Some examples of these are the way to build connection is intentional rhythms with your spouse, with your kids, with your mentors. Tech-free daily connection times. Becoming a safe, trusted voice in your circle, whatever that looks like for you. Identity. How do we build up our identity and strengthen who you are when no one's watching? This is actually going to be a change to integrity, right? When I was going through slides, I realized after the ones went to print that were supposed to be used today, it's supposed to be integrity. So this is about character, your faith, your mindset, your values, how you lead yourself day to day. Some examples of this are, how do you anchor each day in prayer, journaling, or scripture, whatever that looks like for you, something bigger than yourself. How do you set personal standards that align with your long-term integrity? How do you build consistency? How do you talk to yourself and others? So again, like in the full workshop, which we had the opportunity to do here today, which I don't know if anybody was able to take advantage of this, we would scan this, and there's fillable forms for it to fill out. So to really get into all those in detail. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, because this is built out to have the workshop part of it. So let's rewind. If you're asking yourself, do I want to do the difficult thing in the moment? Your answer will most likely be no. I don't want to do the difficult thing right now. Here's the thing. You don't need more motivation. You need to ask a better question. So remember, ask what decision will make you a hero to the future you. Because you don't want to meet an even more tired version of yourself, an even more disillusioned version of yourself. Because when you look at decisions in that way, the discomfort of the moment is eclipsed by the discomfort of meeting a disappointed future you. I'm sure you know how it feels to meet a future you, a future version of yourself that is psyched. I'm sure you've also met a version of your future self that's disappointed and says, why didn't you do the hard thing when we had the opportunity to? You want the future you to be waiting there to meet you with a big smile on their face. You want to meet a future you that is vibrant, a future you that gives you a high five and says, thank you. Thank you for serving the future version of ourselves. So, again, on the hard days, what is your North Star? Provision. How are you going to fund and fuel your life? Resilience. How are you going to be able to stay in the game? How are you going to set yourself up for success? Connection. Relationships that speak life into you and that you're also able to speak into others. Identity and integrity. How are you going to do what's going to move things forward for yourself when no one's watching? How are you going to set yourself up for success in all these? So, as we wrap up, remember, ask, what decision will make you a hero to the future you? So, what's your next step after going through all this? Like, how are you actually going to put it into practice? I really hope you download those free worksheets and fill them out. Spend some time with it. But after that, what's your next step? Are you going to keep going and doing it alone? Because as you've been going through this journey, figuring out who you are and using these resources, it's hard to do that alone, right? I know I've been working with my coaches for 13 years. I've had numerous coaches, business coaches, personal coaches, marketing coaches, branding coaches, like the gamut, because I know that it's hard to do it on my own, to figure out who this future version of myself I want to be. Because even once you figure that out, taking those next steps, sometimes you're going to trip and fall. Like I have fallen on my face so many times in the businesses I've launched, family, friends, like I've fallen on my face, and coaches have helped me get some perspective. So if you're interested in seeing what it would look like to have someone walking with you as a trusted guide, someone who's been to the mountain and has come back down for you, scan that QR code. It's a complimentary one-on-one call. It's not a sales call. We really talk about where you are, where you want to be, what are some things that are sticking. That's what we talk about. Because one of my mentors, Rory Vaden, said, you're best suited to serve the you that you used to be. So that's what I'm trying to do, is look back and help the next person in line, just like the Tim McGraw song says. So I hope you take advantage of that QR code, schedule a complimentary one-on-one coaching session. Again, no sales call. It's hard to do this by yourself. I don't want to say it's impossible. I don't like to speak in absolutes, but if you have someone helping you on the journey, that's the best way to get to where you want to go. And if you don't believe me, think about how far you've gotten on your own and how much further you could have gone with someone beside you. Because how you serve the future you is your legacy. Your legacy, again, is not something far off down the road. Your legacy is built in the decisions you make day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute, and moment to moment. That's actually what's building this legacy for you. And if you're tired of getting stuck where you're at, start utilizing some of these tools, asking a better question, using the frameworks that are provided earlier in this presentation, start outlining who these foundations of who this future you want to be. That's how you build a legacy that you're psyched about. Because when you're faced with a decision, remember this question. Will this decision keep you stuck where you're at? Or will this decision make you a hero to the future you? Be a hero to the future you today. Thank you. I hope you got something out of this. please shoot me a message. All ways to connect with me are John at johnmalora.com, and my website is johnmalora.com/free stuff, where you can download the free Navigator flight plan, or the free flight plan with the 6 checkpoints for success: legacy, action, momentum, focus, structure, and that all important confidence 6 checkpoint. And you also get the bonus, because I believe in over delivering, the free Navigator masterclass video. So, hope you got a lot out of this. Reach out to me, let me know what happened. Find me on all the socials. There are not many John Maloras out there, so just type that up, and I'd love to hear what resonated with you. Hope you have a great evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are here on planet Earth. Onward and upward. See ya.